Okay. So hi everyone, my name is Liz Naughton. I'm a clinical practitioner in the Eden Method. And today I have a special treat. I have Donna Carol Martens. And Donna Carol is a channeler. I have invited her to talk with us today because it's so fascinating to know, first of all, what is it like to channel and can anybody learn? So I'm just going to introduce Donna Carol to you. And Donna, if you don't mind, go ahead and take it away. I guess what we need to know is how did you get started in channeling? And what is it like and can anyone do it? So I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Liz. I appreciate that. Yes, I am a professional channel. I guess you could say channel/medium. And there is a slight difference in those two terms, but a channel is someone that basically lets a spirit or an entity in the light realms or on the other side of consciousness speak through them, take over their voice. So my body actually becomes a vessel so that spirits can teach and educate people in this reality. So I'm giving a voice basically to light guides on the other side. And I channel the archangels. I channel my guide Thor, who actually I knew in person. He lived on this planet, on Earth, and passed in 2012. I've channeled Ascended Masters, Indian Masters, and even people that have crossed over to the other side, you know, people that were human and crossed over. But right now, my main guide would be the Lemurian Mother Goddess, who was the deity that started the ancient Lemurian culture thousands and thousands of years ago. So one of the most important public channelings that I ever did was in 2016, and it basically was a channeling on the history of Lemuria, an overview. And if you go to the internet, you're not going to see a lot of information on Lemuria because it's just not out there. And so I was curious about it, and I started channeling the information, and that's when the Lemurian Mother Goddess came through. That's when I realized that there was such a thing as a Lemurian Mother Goddess. And basically that's Prime Creator in feminine form. And that entity came down and started Lemuria. So that's my main guide right now. And I go by the name Lemurian Donna Carol because one of my, part of my soul mission, or the big part of my soul mission right now, is to bring in the Lemurian codes for people. So I channel the Lemurian Mother Goddess. She brings in the Lemurian energy and she activates people to align with that civilization, and she activates people to remember that consciousness. So that's, I would say that's my overriding soul mission currently. And how I learned how to channel, well, basically, I basically took a class. So I had been meditating for a long time. I started meditation in 1996, so it's been almost 25 years. And I meditated, and I still do, with an Indian practice. It's called heartfulness. At the time, it was called Sahaj Marg. But it's a heart-based meditation practice, very simple practice. And the goal of that practice is enlightenment. And I have experienced that state of consciousness one time, but I went to that state of consciousness, but then I came out of it. So I know what it feels like, but I'm not in that state of consciousness all the time. But people are on the planet. So anyhow, I did this meditation practice for years and years, and it works perfectly. By the way, it's a free practice if anyone's interested in meditating. It's a wonderful heart-based practice. It is advertised through word of mouth, and the goal of the practice is self-realization.
Wow.
And I have a lot of Indian past lives, so I'm very connected to the culture and the country, because I have had past lives there. And I have seen some of my past lives, because when I go to sleep at night, I dream about them and I see them. I've probably seen 8 or 9 of my past lives, and sometimes my guru is pulling out stuff that needs to be released, and I see the past life that the karma is associated with. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I had been meditating for a while before I started channeling, and I think that was a really good foundation for me, really good place to start. And I had moved to Albuquerque from Virginia in 2008, and I had gotten sick. I had cancer around in 2009, but around that time, there was a channeling teacher here that was teaching people how to channel, and a friend of mine said, let's take the class. And I was thinking, okay, I wasn't really that, I guess I was interested in it, but I never thought I could channel. I never thought it would be a big part of my life, and it's turned out to be my profession. It's a huge part of my life, but I didn't know that when I took the class. So I took one class, and lo and behold, I could channel right away. And the first guide that I brought in was the Buddha. And I think he was kind of setting things up and in my mind and in my heart space to prepare me to channel. And then from there, I practiced for a year regularly with another woman that I knew at the time. And then after that, I practiced for a year regularly with a professional medium. And so I practiced for years. And then in 2014, 15, around there, I opened my own business. So I've been in business for 6 years, channeling professionally, and I give readings for people. And I also channel publicly. I've channeled a lot of the archangels publicly. I used to do that every month where I live for about 4 years, but now more or less everything has moved online. So I do weekly channelings on my YouTube channel called Lemurian Donna. Those channelings, of course, are free. And so if you ever wanted to see what I do, there's many examples there, videos on me channeling various guides of the light. Now, I bring in information, but just as importantly, I bring in frequency. So when I'm channeling Archangel Michael or Archangel Gabriel, you know, they're speaking through me. I take on their voice. It comes through my filter, of course. All channels have a filter. And if I'm channeling Archangel Michael and my friend is channeling Archangel Michael, it's going to sound and be a little bit different because the energy and the voice comes through our filter. They actually take words, ideas, thoughts, and patterns within our mind and utilize them to convey their message. So that's why channels sound a little bit differently, even when they're channeling the same entity. So I love channeling the angels, and I like channeling in general. I mean, I do it for a living, but I love it because it really raises my frequency. You know, I'm a Pisces. Actually, a lot of channels are Pisces, but have a Pisces sun sign. But sometimes, you know, which means I'm very emotional, up and down all the time, you know. And channeling just brings me right up, and it keeps me there until I go down again. But then when I channel again, I go right up. So I love it because it raises my frequency. And sometimes I get very esoteric information when I'm channeling. Usually people come to me for a reading because, I mean, they could go to a tarot card reader and get information about, should I be with this person? Should I take this job? But the information that I'm bringing in goes further out. So, and this is part of my meditation practice. You know, I meditated so many years. I went to different dimensions and different light realms. So luckily, I'm able to bring that information in so I can give people information about their past lives, about their soul origin or where they're from in the galactic realms. And but also I do relationship readings, and the angels come in and they dissect the relationship. It's pretty interesting. But that's how I learned to channel. I took a class, but I only took one class, and believe me, I could have taken 2, 3, 4, 5. I just decided to practice, and that's how I became better at it.
That's wonderful. So when someone comes to see you And let's say it's not necessarily about relationships, but they just want to know about themselves on a deeper level. Do you think that's like a catalyst for them to start learning about different dimensions? For example, if Donna Carroll did a reading for me, and I just found all of it was just so fascinating. So some of it had to do with Atlantis, and I just wasn't well learned in that time. So do you find a lot of the people that come and spend time with you, Donna Carroll, they from there they go and they learn about more of the dimensions and things like that?
Yes, they do. Some people come to me and they know that they were Atlantean, they know that they were Lemurian, they know that they were Pleiadian. Some people have no idea, and if the guides think it's important, that information is brought through. And I think I'm just a sounding board for the guides, and whatever needs to be brought up at the time, whatever's most relevant for the person at the time is brought up. And each reading I do for even the same person is very different. Like I said, most people come to me usually one time for this soul overview, but every time they do come back to me, it's different. They get more information. I've had people, usually past life information that's important will be brought in, especially as it relates to what's going on in the person's life now. Because we are all on we all have a unique soul mission, and typically they're very related to your past lives. But I've also worked on people that have never incarnated here before. It's their first incarnation. Wow. So it's and that's kind of rare, but they're out there. But yes, you're correct. I mean, a lot of times the information that's brought in catalyzes people to do research, or even sometimes the guides will bring in your unique soul mission in an energetic form, and it's like they plant seeds in your body, and the guides come in, and then from there you'll connect with the right people, or you'll go to the right place to further your soul advancement. Everything is about evolution. I only work with the highest guides that I can work with. Why work with mid-level guides if you can work with high-level guides? Yeah. I work with the highest that I can work with, and I also bring in the guides that are very particular for that individual. So I work with the angels and usually with guides from the angelic realm. But if someone's Syrian guides are going to come through, and that person will be connected to those guides more viscerally, more consciously. Those guides are already with that person, in that person's field, but if they can actually speak to that person and make that connection, it makes the relationship more solid, and it brings a sense of truth to the relationship. People don't need to wonder. They can hear the guides, and if it's real and it's accurate, people know it. They feel it in their body. So.
Wow. So that's kind of cool. So, so once someone kind of gets an idea of what it is that you do, how do they take the next step? So let's say they want to learn how to do the same things that you're doing, like they want to learn how to channel, or take different like workshops and things like that. Do you offer those?
I do. I've taught probably 6 or 7 channeling classes in New Mexico, live classes. However, now I'm starting to teach online through Zoom. So I'm offering a free webinar actually this May 5th, 2020 at noon Mountain Time. And the webinar is called Bringing Joy, Healing, and Wisdom by Connecting to Your Spirit Guides. And I'm going to teach you 3 ways to connect to your spirit guides that you may or may not be familiar with. And I'm going to utilize the stone selenite, the crystal selenite. And I work with crystals in my business. Sometimes people will come to me and the guides will just lay a certain crystal on them and work with that crystal and the person. And I might not even be fully conscious of what they're doing, but it's the energy of that stone that they need at that particular time. So I work with crystals a lot, and I'm going to teach people how to work with selenite, which is awesome because selenite is the highest vibrating crystal on the planet. And as soon as I started channeling, it was everywhere in my apartment. People were giving me selenite. I had huge selenite angels come to me. So it was very important for me as a channel to have selenite. So I want to pass that gift on to other people and teach them about it. But I've taught live classes. Now I'm starting to teach on Zoom. And I'm teaching my next channeling class from June 3rd to June 26th. It's called Learn to Channel the Lemurian Way. And if people are interested, they can contact me. But the class is literally designed for Lemurians and other starseeds who want to connect with their guides. And they want to channel the messages. They want to verbally channel what their guides are saying. Everybody has different guides. And usually people can channel more than one entity. They can channel various entities. And everybody can channel. I've taught, you know, I'm not going to say tons and tons of people, but I've taught enough people to know that everyone can channel. The only thing that will, because it's an inherent human ability, because we're multidimensional creatures and we are connected to those realms. We live in those realms. Our higher selves do. So it's just really connecting to the higher aspect of yourself and your guides, which are typically from the same dimension where your higher self is from. Long story short, everybody can channel. It's a great skill to have because not only does it bring in messages, I never thought I'd be a professional channel or a medium. I had no desire to be one. It was kind of my life path. It was my mission. But when you channel, you can channel professionally, you can channel for your friends, but you'll be able to bring in healing and information for other people. And that's a gift and a blessing. And I wouldn't say it's, you know, just like easy. No, you're going to have to practice. It's like anything. You get better at it the more time and attention you give to it. But there is a certain protocol to channeling. You definitely want to be protected. There's definitely a lot of different entities that can come in and play around in your field. So you want to be protected. You want to do it safely. You want to bring in the best guides for your particular body. And so I teach people how to do that. And I've done this. This is not the only lifetime where I have channeled and where I have taught. And I think taught channeling. And so I think, you know, I just basically brought up that past life information and started utilizing it now in this.
So how does someone know it's time for them to start learning about channeling? Is it because there's a curiosity or a calling, or how do I know it's time for me to do that?
The desire will be there. If you have a curiosity about it or a desire to learn. And so I've taught a lot of different healers how to channel, or people that are metaphysically oriented, but they want to take it to the next level. It does open you up. When you learn to channel and you can channel your guides succinctly and verbally, I mean, think about that. That just opens you up. It opens up all the horizons. When I learned to channel, it was like I was living in this world, and when I learned to channel, I was living in this world. It was, I would say, starting my meditation practice was a huge milestone for me. It was a watershed, and the same with learning how to channel. Two very important points in my life, and I would give them equal value because they got me that much further connected with the divine. Like I said, I love to channel. I love to bring in the guides. It does take energy. You need to pace yourself when you first learn. Sometimes you can channel for 5 minutes and you're done. It's like, think about it. You're bringing in energy from a very higher dimension. It's coming through your physical body. Mm-hmm. So your body has to get used to absorbing the energy, emitting the energy. I say when people start channeling, their brains get rewired. And I literally mean that. They do get rewired. Your body gets rewired in a way so that you can handle the energy and bring in the guides. And one of the after effects of me channeling is my memory is not as good as it was when I was younger. Not that my memory was good when I was younger. I never had a great memory, but I very much live in present time now, much more so than before. And channeling brought that to me, which it's good. It's good. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to live in present time. So, but it rewires your brain for sure. I mean, and like I said, it takes a lot of energy. Your body has to get used to handling the energy. So you might be able to channel 5 minutes at first, and then after practice, you'll get up to an hour.
Wow. So
Oh.
as a healer, how can they incorporate what they learn as a chant when they do the channeling or as a channel?
Well, if you're consciously connected to your guides, let's say you're a healer, let's say you're an Arcturian healer, because a lot of Arcturians incarnated here are healers. They're working with you probably anyhow, but if you consciously connect with them and bring them through your body, it's much more potent. So their energy, their healing energy, as an Arcturian incarnated here, if you can mentally connect to those guides and bring them in, the energy coming in will just be much more powerful. And then you can start channeling their words. And if you're a healer, they might be able to tell you, oh, you know, this person has an injury in the left wrist. It was caused 3 lifetimes ago when this person fell from a horse, you know, and that you need to go in and remove the impression, remove the karma. It's different for everybody. I should say that everybody channels a little bit differently. It depends on who you are, how you're wired, and what your karma is. But I just think it adds breadth and depth to any healing practice, any psychic practice, any type of metaphysical practice. I feel channeling adds just a lot more vibrancy. And who wouldn't want to get messages from their guides and channel for their friends verbally? I mean, you don't have to. People have to eliminate the doubt. That's a process that you go through as you channel. But once you trust yourself and trust your guides and trust the information, just to hear, it's fascinating. You know, I did like a 5-minute meditation, and I knew I was a nun in a former life, and I wanted to know where it was. And after just 5 minutes, I got the information. It was Montserrat. I didn't even know that word. I didn't even know where that was. And I researched it, and sure enough, there was a monastery there. Wow. And that's where I was. So I wouldn't be able to do that unless I channeled. My guides came in and told me.
That is so cool. Great. Well, is there anything else that you can think of that you want to add? I will be sure to go ahead and post your contact information and when your classes are and things like that. Is there anything, any messages that your guides maybe have given you as of late that can help us feel more comfortable with dealing with being, you know, shelter in place and things like that?
Well, you know, just that channeling is a skill that is meant for everyone. Every human being has the inherent ability to channel. And we're entering, or we've entered, the age of Aquarius. And I feel like channeling is going to become more and more important as we go on. It's an old skill. In other words, you know, the Oracle at Delphi, she was a channel. It's an ancient practice. And it was looked down upon the last few hundred years, but it's always been with us. It's very powerful. It's very enlightening. I think it's a gift from God. You know, I think that it's, and I feel like it's a beautiful, beautiful skill to have. But, you know, it just depends on if that's what you want to learn. But I will say this, that your spiritual attainment, how much you attain in the spiritual world, is what you take with you after you pass from this dimension. You don't take your money, you don't take your kids, you take your spiritual attainment. And so the more energy and the more thought and the more time you put into that, the better off you'll be, and it will help you in your next incarnation. The higher you can go in this incarnation, channeling raises your frequency, it will help you in the next incarnation, the next place you go to, more than anything else. That and meditation, prayer too, but I feel like people, yeah, if they have the time to learn how to channel because they're home, this would be an opportune time. And I can't say enough about it. You know I teach it, I know I do it, but I've done a lot of different things in my life, and this is the thing that has really stuck with me. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I so appreciate your time. And I've really enjoyed our talk. I also, because I have worked with Donna Carroll, and how it's enriched my life is it's a lot to do with just getting out there and just investing some time in myself. And it's like, how do I apply some of the things that were discovered during our session together? So I really appreciate your talent and your time. So like I said, I will go ahead and post Donna Carroll's information. Her webinar is on Tuesday from, did you say it was at what time on Tuesday?
It's noon Mountain Time or 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Cinco de Mayo, May 5th.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
All right, great. So thank you so much. And I hope everyone enjoyed that. If you have, please leave a comment down below, and I will make sure that Donna Carroll gets the message. So go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you for your time and your energy and your interest in channeling and bringing the information to your audience. I just wanted to thank you. And here is my business card with my phone number. I don't know.
Can you bring it a little bit closer? There we go. There, that's great.
So. And
I also have the number here. It's 505-515-5088. So if you want to give Donna Carroll a call and make an appointment for a session, it's really time well spent. So thank you so much. And I hope to be talking to you soon.
Thank you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.